Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'll be discussing as well as explaining in detail about the poem Keeping Quiet. That is one of the important poems in Class 12 English Cbse board. This poem really talks about the destruction, peace, and self-introspection, and so many things in detail. But really, if I have to talk about it, this poem really emphasizes the importance of self-introspection and silence, because self-introspection is the only solution for all these violence and destructions around the world that really the poet is concerned about. And this poem also tells about the big impact of silence and self-introspection, as I said, self-examination, in making this world a better place to live in. So that first of all, let us quickly, as always, look at the author. The poet Pablo Neruda was born in 1904 and passed away in the year 1973. Was born in the town of Parral in Chile, one of the South American countries. His poems are full of easily understood images, which make them no less beautiful. He won the Nobel Prize for Literature in the year 1971 as well. In this poem, Neruda talks about the necessity of quiet introspection and creating a feeling of mutual understanding among human beings. When we say introspections, self-examination or examination, so this poem really discusses the peace, humanity, and brotherhood. And also, the poet wants the readers to take time out of their busy lives for retrospection and introspection. This poem is also a symbolic of stopping all activities and understanding the purpose of the world. Keeping quiet means keeping silence, appeals to the heart of the readers in contrast in the intellect. Through this poem, the poet, the Neruda, aims to get his readers thinking and pondering, means considering, as opposed to intellectual simulations. So, as I said in the beginning as well, this poem really emphasizes the importance of self-introspection, self-examination, and silence. All right, let us look at the poem from the very first stanza. This poem emphasizes the importance of self-introspection, that is self-examination, and silence. Both of these two can transform the life of an individual. Moreover, they can also transform the face of the earth. The poet Pablo Neruda says that self-introspection and silence do not take much time to look within. Any individual can do it and examine oneself. This is as easy and takes only as long as it will take someone to count up to 12. So during this time of introspection, that is self-examination, it is important for any individual to keep quiet, um, and the individuals must stay quiet and say nothing at all. Without silence and keeping quiet, according to the poet, self-introspection will not work at all. So this is what he wants to convey here. And now let's see from the lines here, from the very first stanza. Now we will count to 12 and we will all keep still. He says here, now we will count up to 12 and we will all be still. That means, he says, now let us count up to 12 until the time we finish counting up to 12. Let us be still. That means let us not move. Let us be quiet and introspect ourselves, self-examine ourselves. For once on the face of the earth, let's not speak in any language. For a moment, for once, at least for once, on the face of the earth, on this earth, on this beautiful earth, let us not speak in any language. That means he doesn't want anybody to speak in any language whatsoever in order to introspect ourselves. Let's stop for 1 second. He also stresses and emphasizes for the fact that let us be stopped for one moment, for 1 second, and not move our arms so much. Let us not move our hands, legs, our body, and then let us be still for some time, at least for 1 second. That is what the poet stresses here. In the third stanza, he says, it would be an exotic moment without rush, without engines. We would all be together in a sudden strangeness. So in the beginning, it will suddenly feel a little strange. However, eventually, it has the power to bring all us together. It has the power to bring all of us together. This silence will be free from the annoying sounds of engines, etc. Furthermore, this silence will also be free from the people rushing to get their work done. The author feels happy while imagining the change that will take place in those moments. So this is very important stanza out of this poem as well. It would be an exotic moment. Exotic means attractive, enticing moment for all of us, those who are running for their works, for their work done, for their offices, for their duties, whatever we call it. So this would be an exotic moment for all of us, and um, this will definitely bring all of us together, but in sudden strangeness. That is what he says here. The fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales. Even the fishermen who are catching fish in the cold sea, when we say cold sea, that is the sea in the polar regions, either in the North Pole or South Poles. Um, those people or fishermen fishing in the cold sea would even get some moment at least to not harm the whales. And the men gathering salt would look at his hot hands. Even the men who have to deal with the pain while collecting salt uh, in the seashore, for instance, will get a little time to look at their hot hands, thereby getting a little relief by all themselves. Now let's go to the next stanza. Those who prepare green wars with gas, wars with fire, victory with no survivors would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in the set doing nothing. So here, prepare green wars means wars against the environment. Wars with gas means the uses of gas in the wars for the destruction, and wars with fire means the uses of arms, ammunition, bombs, etc., which causes fire in the war. But in order to do so, the outcome is even if we win the war, there are less likely to uh, have the survivors to celebrate that victory. But here, the poet stresses for the fact that even the people who desire war and destruction will even get time to put on their clean clothes and also an opportunity to walk among with their brothers. They will get to experience a life that is free of enmity, enemy, and hatred. There will be at least a halt, means stop to their destructive and dangerous activities, peace, and then uh, tranquility will definitely prevail everywhere once such harmful activities come to a stop, even if it is for a short period of time. So that is what the poet Pablo Neruda is emphasizing. That's why he says here introspection. It's important. Silence is important. Therefore, he emphasizes especially these two words. When I want what I'm sorry, what I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Life is what it is about. The poet says here, um, he stresses for the fact that there should be silent, um, and we should not be moving our arms and be quiet till the time he finishes counting up to 12. But he somewhere realizes that the readers might be confused with the total inactivity. When he says in total inactivity, he's somehow referring to the word death also. Therefore, he says he doesn't want to get confused. Uh, people, he didn't want to get confused, or you don't want to make people confused or the readers confused with the word death when he says total inactivity. And therefore, he says, I want no truck with death. The phrase to have no truck with means to refuse to associate or deal with, or to refuse to tolerate something with. Therefore, it is clearly understandable from his perspective that he is not trying to confuse with the word death when he said total inactivity in the poem. So the poet really clarifies that his wish should not mean total inactivity. The poet only desires to interrupt the violent, cruel, and sad activities taking place all over the world for a few moments and let individuals introspect, self examine their actions. In fact, there is a connection to what he says with life rather than death. Uh, let's see and down here, if we were not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving and for once could do nothing perhaps a huge silence might interrupt this sadness of never understanding ourselves and of threatening ourselves with death. So activity is the very essence of life, whereas inactivity is symbolic of death. We should know this. However, for a new, improved, and useful activity, a little stillness is quite important. Little, when you say little stillness, little silence, a bit silence is required in order to do all of this. Because we might be running, rushing for one thing or the other in our life, but in amidst all of these activities, little silence is important. Little silence is quite important to re-examine ourselves. The poet makes use of the image of the earth also to explain how life exists in things that seem dormant, really. In the second last stanza, says, perhaps the earth can teach us. He somehow personified the earth word here. Perhaps the earth can teach us as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. So somehow we can say that this somehow we can see or we can understand the fact that these two words earth and teach, these two are personified in the poem here. So for example, in the winter the earth becomes very silent and it seems to be dead. The earth becomes lively again in the spring. Furthermore, in the spring the addition of the fresh new beauties and colors takes place. In a similar fashion, man can resume his activities in a better manner after a little silence and quietness. Therefore, he says in the last line again, last two lines or last stanza again, now I will count up to 12 and you keep quiet and I will go. That is what he says here. So that's it already. This poem is really emphasizing about the kind of impact that silence and self-introspection, these two words are making in order to make this world a better place to live in. So this was it, and please go through this video once again, watch it once or twice in order to understand in a better way. So all right, now let us look at some of the literary devices used in this poem here from the very first stanza. In the very first stanza we can see the word count and still. Count means kind of action that we do, but still means quiet. That means there is no action, so there is inactivity. There is no activity. Therefore, it is antithesis. Literary device is antithesis. When you say antithesis, it is uh, something that two opposite ideas are put together or kept together in a sentence or in a paragraph. Therefore, it is antithesis in literary devices. And we can see there is the alliteration, also repetition of the consonant sounds also here. In the first stanza here, we will, and the next line also you can say we will. So these two words again, the repetition of consonant sound. Therefore, it is alliteration. And we can see alliteration down there also here, consonant sound here in the stanza, fourth stanza here, his hard hands, for example. So his hard hands is an example of alliteration as well, repetition of consonant sounds. And another alliteration we can see, for instance, here is stop for a second. Let's see here, stop for a second in the second stanza, stop for a second. Sa sa sound are being repeated here. And a very important one is the anaphora. Uh, what is anaphora? Anaphora is the repetition of words at the beginning of the successive sentence. For example, same words. Here you can see let us, and here also the let us. These two words are being repeated in the successive sentence in the consecutive way, and therefore it is anaphora in literary devices. And now let us find out the rest here. Okay, we can see here one more literary devices, that is pun, P-U-N, pun. Pun means arms here. What is pun? Pun means same sounding words but having different meanings. Arms. These arms can be referred to arms and ammunition as well. But then it can also refer to the arms of men, for example, hands, legs. Therefore, it is called pun, P-U-N, pun, kind of wordplay that we can understand in English language. And now let's see another one is the paradox. Paradox. What is paradox? First of all, try to understand. Paradox is something that seems contradictory, but that is very true in nature. So in this line, we can see here victory with no survivors. Here we can see this is paradox. It seems to be contradictory a bit, but then it is true in nature. When we go in the war, we may or may not be survived, but then there may be victory as well. So when we have victory and we achieve the victory, we may not be there to celebrate the victory as well. So kind of contradictory, but it is true in nature. Therefore, it is paradox in literary devices. Therefore, another one is here, symbol or symbolic, where we can see down there here in the second last stanza. The Okay, the next literary device is from the second last stanza. That is, the earth can teach us as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. Now we will count up to 12 and you keep quiet and I will go. But not the last stanza, but from the second last stanza, we can see the word earth. Earth is a symbol or symbolism of life or energy. And therefore, the literary devices used in this poem is symbol or symbolism, and that is earth. And earth is a symbol of uh, life, for instance. For example, dove, D-O-V-E, dove is the symbol of peace, just like that. And thank you very much for watching this video. If any of you are watching for the first time, my channel Cbse Life, please do not forget to share and subscribe it for more. Uh, and do not forget to press the bell icon as well, so that anytime I upload some new videos, the notification may reach to you instantly. Thank you very much.